Howdy, this is Chris with M2Skins. Today we're going to be doing a narrated install of the Advanced Vinyl Pro Kits for the Framework Desktop 2025 edition. We're doing this aside from the standard vinyls because the advanced vinyls tend to act a little differently when you're trying to install them with regards to how the adhesive reacts to surfaces and things like that. On standard vinyls, you can typically lay something down, shift it around to get the right alignment, and then tack it. It's pressure sensitive. On these advanced vinyls, it's contact sensitive and heat sensitive, so as soon as it touches the device, it can tend to grab and make it a little bit more difficult to install. So we're going to go ahead and start with the side panel here. And I'm going to do this by holding it. You'll see us use the backing paper more in the later parts of this, but this is a small enough piece that I think you can use a more normal type of install method. So we're just going to align it to this corner and along this bottom panel. And then you should see that exhaust port fall into place. Of course, we want to follow with a squeegee to tack it down. This is a beautiful color. This is actually Galactic Iridescent. I was chatting with somebody on Reddit who was looking for this exact color, so I figured why not shoot the video in this color. Now on this top piece, I'm actually going to do this in two sections. I'm going to do this section here to get this circular indent, and then you'll see me use the backing paper, and then I'll do the second section after. So let's go ahead and peel this off. Now these are not equidistant from the edge here, so this is a directional piece. You can't just switch it around. And we also have flaps that wrap around the side, so where you see the flaps here, you want those to go towards the rear. So if I just lay this here, see, it wants to just grab. Let's align that. Okay, you don't want to tack it down, you just want it to just lay there so that you can actually set the direction. And I'll just a little off. There we go. The good news is our advanced vinyls are a little thicker, so you can be slightly rougher with them. All right, so then we're going to tack around there. They do not let air escape very well, so whenever you're tacking down a flat plane on an advanced vinyl, you want to start from the middle and go outwards. That way you don't get any air trapped underneath and create bubbles. So the other part of the advanced vinyls is that because they are thicker, they are a little bit more rigid. They don't conform to these 90-degree angles as well. But we have a solution for that. We use low heat and just a couple passes to soften. You can see it already rippling, so it's just going to soften right up. And then you can just run your finger across and slowly work it down the side. Now, it may not adhere straight on because, again, it is rigid. So we're going to use just a little more heat to activate that adhesive. Some of these you may need to push down a couple times. You don't want to go too long or too close with the heat on the device because there's a lot of plastic on it, and heat can melt some plastic. We haven't melted anything on ours, but I always want to caution people when using heat. Okay. There we go. And then this side. All right. If you don't have the handle and you have these little filler screws, we have just some accent pieces that we put into the middle. I like to use the tweezers to put these on because it just makes it easier to line up. And then the other one. Like so. There we go. Yeah, as you can see, like this is peeling up a little bit here. So just gonna hit it with a little more heat. Really tack it down. There we go. All right, let's move on to this back panel here. And here you're gonna see us use the backing paper again, just to get this initial alignment down here on the bottom. So we're gonna peel up. Oh, whoopsie. Okay. Just enough to, it doesn't want to stay, so it's very curly. Okay, so now we can shift it around, and I'm going to start with that bottom corner there and just ride that line. There we go. Now we're going to tack it to get some initial setting of the tack here. Now you can remove the paper altogether. This is a small enough piece where you can just pull it up to the other side and it should just fall right into place. Again, with the air escape, because we already tacked this piece, this section down here, we just want to push up and out. So, here we go. All right, now we're gonna move over to the front here. In the standards vinyl install, I actually took this piece off and did this separately, but for the advanced, we're gonna leave it on the device to give us something to grip onto. And these are actually undersized very slightly. It's very minor. So you don't wanna go too wild with stretching. So we always like to peel thin sections from multiple angles just to avoid stretching by pulling across. We do not need the paper for this one because there's not a lot of contact here. So I'm just gonna loosely lay it on there, and then we're gonna align this grid box corner and power button. And then just a slight tug just to get it to align to the same way over here. And now we're gonna do the same. We're gonna do a slight tug to get it up to here. And then a slight tug across. Okay. Now I noticed here I'm bowing out a little bit. You can use your tweezers. These are excellent for this kind of stuff where you just kind of lift it very slightly and just nudge it in line. There we go. And then this side looks fine. And now we're going to get to the flaps. Again, we're going to use heat here, but you want to be very careful. These grid panel pieces are actually plastic, so you don't want to linger too long with the heat. Just enough to get it soft, and you'll see it start to curl. Like I'll do this side here. There we go. Now the front panel's done. Now before we move on to the back, we do have pieces for this silver accent strip that goes all the way around the base. They're optional. I think it looks pretty good. Silver and blue looks pretty good here, but we're going to show you how to install them anyway in case you wanted a more uniform look. So this front piece here, we're actually going to start with one of the ports. You want to ride the top part of that line and align the port cutout. And I'm going to use my tweezers here because it's a very thin piece and I want to make sure I get it straight. Little tug. There we go. Wrap that around the sides there. And let's do this side panel piece here. I like to use tweezers to make these thin pieces line up because it's a lot easier for me to control the direction and how they're being laid down. And I'm going to rotate this here. I'm going to go all the way down, just trying to hug that line. Okay, there we go. Let's do the same on the other side. There we go. All right, now we're going to move on to the back. So we can actually start with this strip piece here. This is slightly undersized, so it's designed to be installed on one side first. Just put it right up there, and then we have to give it a small little tug. Just a small tug to get it to fit on the other side. Okay. All right. Let me grab some tack tape. When you get your kit, this will actually be pre-applied for you. Although sometimes with the heat and expansion and contraction, it's always good to, when you get it, to just give it a little tap with your squeegee there. And what these do is, because there's a lot of thin pieces here, like this really just adds a little rigidity to the pieces that you're going to be installing. There we go. All right, I'll start with the ITX back panel. See how I've got like rigidity. If this wasn't here, this tack tape wasn't here, this would just be very floppy. And very hard to manage, especially with an advanced vinyl. So what you're gonna wanna do is align the headphone jack and then the grid of the vents. As long as those two are in line, the rest should fall into place. And then this should be, as long as you push this down, this should be easy to remove. If any of these come up when you're removing this because it wasn't fully tacked down, just be very careful. You want to peel very close. And then you can just use your finger to push it back down. All right, we're on the home stretch here. We got the last one. On this piece here, this section here is very thin. All right, we did undersize it a little bit, but there was only so much we could do to cut around this because this needed to be true to size. So you want to be very careful when peeling this as to not overstretch it. I'm going to peel from multiple angles here. Okay, and then I'm just going to reuse the paper to focus on one side first. Let's try it again. There we go. So we're going to align this corner and grid. Okay. Now when you get to the thin pieces, you're We're gonna use our tweezers and just pull it just a little bit. Again, it's very slightly undersized. And on this very thin section here, you can actually pull it just slightly taut. Don't stretch it, just pull it just taut enough to be straight. You can do that. Okay, now let's remove this and finish. Lining the grid here. So. Get that leg. Then I'm going to sneak under here to grab this. I'll line and tack this corner here. And that leg just falls right into place. Excellent. Let's just give it a quick tack. And we can that, my friends, is it. Just go over, and you might see some of this, a little bit of bubbling up. Just gonna hit some heat. Again, might take a couple days or a couple times to tack down before it finally sticks. But it will finally stick. On this side. Actually, that one doesn't need heat. I'll just push it down. All right. This is the beautiful Galactic Iridescent color. Although I am partial to blue myself, so that might be why. Anyway, appreciate you guys watching. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. We're always here to help you guys along with your installs. And cheers.